Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Danvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Hari Bol to Ramchandra Prabhuji and Pawan Prabhuji for leading the chanting this morning. Hari Hari. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody. Okay, anybody would like to sing the prayer today, the bhajan? Shri Krishna Sankirtan.
Can sing, Prabhuji.
Amrish Prabhu, yes, please. Yeah. So I'm sharing my screen as well, and the link is in the chat. Sorry. Yes.
Shri Krishna Sankirtane Jadi Manasa Tuhar Parama Jatane Tahi Labho Adhikar Trinadhikahina Dina Akinchana Char Apane Manobi Sada Chariya Hankar Vriksha Sama Shama Guna Gaurabi Sadhan Pratihinsa Tyagi Ane Gaurabi Palan Jivana Nirvahe Ane Udvegana Dive Para upakare nija sukha pasaribe hoile wo sarva gune guni mahasaye pratishtha sachadi koro amani hrudaye Krishna adhisthana sarva jive jani sada Koravi Samana Sabe Adare Sarvada Dainya Doya Anye Manam Pratishtha Varjanam Chari Gune Guni Hoi Kuruha Kirtanam Bhakti Vinoda Kandi Bole Prabhu Paye Hino adhikara kabe dive he amaye bhakti vinoda kandi bole prabhu paye hino adhikara kabe dive he amaye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Amrish Prabhu. Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nice. Thank you so much once again. Every time you sing, it is our purification of our senses, our mind, and our soul, so that we can be purified and go back home, back to Godhead. So thank you so much. Okay, anybody else would like to read the translation?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. This is Anandini. I can read.
Yes, Anandini Gopika Mata, please. Go ahead.
If your mind is always absorbed in chanting the glories of Lord Krishna with great care,
then by that process of Sri Krishna Kirtan, you will attain transcendental qualification. You should give up all false pride and always consider yourself to be worthless, destitute, lower, and more humble than a blade of grass. You should practice forgiveness like that of a tree, and giving up violence towards other living beings. You should protect and maintain them. In the course of passing your life, you should never give anxiety to others, but rather do good to them while forgetting about your own happiness. When one has thus become a great soul, possessing all good qualities, one should abandon all desires for fame and honor and make one's heart humble. Knowing that Lord Krishna resides within all living creatures, one should, with great respect, consistently show honor to all beings. By possessing these four qualities humility, mercifulness, respect towards others, and the renunciation of desires for prestige, one becomes virtuous. In such a state, you may sing the glories of the Supreme Lord. Is there more in there?
Yeah, one more last word.
One more. Okay.
Weeping.
Yeah, right here. Weeping, Bhakti Vinod submits his prayer at the lotus feet of the Lord. O Lord, when will you give me the qualification of possessing attributes such as these? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Any reflections you want to share?
Thank you, Amresh Prabhu. You sing very beautifully. I have been listening to one of the lecture series lately from Brihad Bhagavatamrit, part 1, where it is Narad Muni's quest to find the best devotee. And the Narad Muni in that quest goes to several places, including, Bhuloka, heaven, and then he goes to Purushaloka to meet Hanumanji. From there, he would head out further. I have not completed the series, but the theme is that every devotee he meets, he's very exalted. He starts from a king in southern India who does very elaborate deity worship. And then every devotee directs him to another devotee and says, I'm nothing, look at that devotee. He does much more in terms of either some qualification, which they say that is why they are better. Either they have, through their wealth, through their fame, through their knowledge, they are serving the Lord in a much better way than I am doing. So currently the part that I'm listening, Hanumanji, Narad Muni is with Hanumanji, glorifying Hanumanji of 11 ways he has served the Lord Ramachandra. And that includes, being a mantri, being a carrier, being a cushion for Lord Ram, multiple ways like Lord Balaram. And Hanumanji says, I'm nothing, my interaction with Lord Ram is very formal. I'm just a das. But you see the Pandavas, like Lord literally stays with them. We say about the 6 exchanges of love, but with devotees. But here, Pandavas are doing 6 exchanges of love with the Lord himself. So he directs this way Narad Muni to Pandavas. But he tells Narad Muni, but you be careful. Don't think by their opulence and by their kingliness and their household affairs that they are just householders. They are much more exalted than us two brahmacharis. So this is the recurrent theme in Brihad Bhagavatamrit about, always find some reason to glorify other devotees. Thank you, Prabhu. Sorry to take that much of time.
No.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Wonderful, wonderful reflection. Actually, I also listened to the same part.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I am actually looking forward to learn more. So thank you for continuing up to the Pandavas. So I think it's part 4, shloka number 65, that he talks about the 14 ways that Hanumanji serves. So I have printed that part because I want to learn much. That really got me interested to learn more about this. So thank you for sharing that. I absolutely like so happy right now. You can feel it in my voice.
Meenu Mataji, I have a desire to read it with you.
Okay.
Okay.
We should buy that and then go from
Yeah.
that. Maybe we can start our group to read Sri Brihad Bhagavata Amrita by Sanatan Goswami. So yes, thank you for doing this. Amazing.
Krishna.
Love it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. See, that is why we want devotees to share, because all of us are on the path, and when we share, it gives so much joy to others also, right? So thank you so much, Anandi Gopi Mataji. You are delivering babies. May you all deliver us also one day. So thank you so much. Yes, it's always nice when devotees share, because all of us are, yes, we're all reading, and if we are not reading, then we should be reading, we should be hearing, like the theme that we are currently reading in Teachings of Lord Kapila Dev, and what Prabhupada was sharing yesterday, meditation on transcendental form of the Lord, right? So always, just like he was giving the example of the housewives, they will always make sure they'll have they will decorate their hairs and nicely tie them up, so that consciousness is always there. So that is the perfection, he was saying. Perfection of bhakti is when we are always meditating on the transcendental form of the Lord, no matter what material activities also we may be engaged in through the day. So yeah, like this, it's nice that we are all reading something, we are hearing something, some katha, some hari katha, and when we share that, that should be the the goal, the mood of the devotees, what Prabhupada used to say, right? Instead of coming and saying how are you and talking mundane, worldly things, we should come and share what I heard yesterday, what you heard yesterday, and what you learned, right? So that is so nice, exchange of Harikatha and our learnings with each other. Thank you once again. Okay, so let's continue. We are on chapter 16, we started this chapter yesterday, which is talking about exactly the things that we were just discussing, the pure devotees' spiritual opulences, which are these saintly qualities of humility, of showing respect towards others, not expecting anything, not expecting any return, any respect for ourselves, right? Mercifulness, compassion, tolerance, all of these virtues are really the diamonds or the pearls of the necklace of a pure devotee. So let's continue from here. Okay. In the Vaikuntha planets, one attains opulence like Krishna or Narayana. There are 5 kinds of mukti, liberation, and one is sarshti. This kind of liberation brings one opulence equal to the Lord. In the Vaikuntha planets, everyone is 4-handed like Narayana, and everyone is equally opulent. In Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna and the cowherd boys are equally opulent. In Vrindavan, the cowherd boys do not know that Krishna is God. They look on Krishna as an equal. This is the opulence of their devotional position. Nonetheless, the devotees do not aspire for all this opulence. Their only aspiration is to engage in the service of the Lord. In this way, they get everything. Nor are the devotees interested in attaining the mystic yoga siddhis. They do not need to be able to create a planet, for they can create Vaikuntha by worshipping Krishna in this temple. The temple is nirguna, transcendental to the gunas. In the Shastras, it is said that the forest is characterized by sattva guna, goodness, and the city is characterized by rajoguna, passion, because in the city there is a great deal of illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. Formerly, when people were aspiring for spiritual realization, they left the cities and went to the forests. That was the Vanaprastha stage. The word Vana means forest. Before taking sannyas, a man would leave his family and go to the forest to begin practicing austerities. Vanam gato yad dharim ashrayeta. Actually, superior to living in the forest is living in the temple, because the temple is nirguna, above all the gunas, even sattva guna. The inhabitants of the temple are actually in Vaikuntha. Lord Kapil Dev next explains the nature of the special opulences of the devotees. Text 38. Nakarhi chinmat parashantarupe nangshyanti no me nimishole diheti yeshamaham priya atma sutascha sakha guru suridodaivam ishtam. The Lord continued, My dear mother, devotees who receive such transcendental opulences are never bereft of them. Neither weapons nor the change of time can destroy such opulences, because the devotees accept me as their friend, relative, son, preceptor, benefactor, and supreme deity. They cannot be deprived of their possessions at any time. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that one may elevate himself to the higher planetary systems, even up to Brahmaloka, by dint of pious activities. But when the effects of such pious activities are finished, one again comes back to this earth to begin a new life of activities. Thus, even though one is promoted to the higher planetary system for enjoyment and a long duration of life, still that is not a permanent settlement. But as far as the devotees are concerned, their assets, the achievement of devotional service, and the consequent opulence of Vaikuntha, even on this planet, are never destroyed. In this verse, Kapil Deva addresses his mother as Shanta Rupa, indicating that the opulences of devotees are fixed because devotees are eternally fixed in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, which is called Shanta Rupa, because it is in the mode of pure goodness, undisturbed by the modes of passion and ignorance. Once one is fixed in the devotional service of the Lord, his position of transcendental service cannot be destroyed, and the pleasure and service simply increase unlimitedly. For the devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of time. In the material world, the influence of time destroys everything. But in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of time or of the demigods, because there are no demigods in the Vaikuntha planets. Here, our activities are controlled by different demigods. Even if we move our hand and leg, the action is controlled by the demigods. But in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of the demigods or of the time. Therefore, there is no question of destruction. When the time element is present, there is the certainty of destruction. But when there is no time element, past, present, or future, then everything is eternal. Therefore, this verse uses the words Nangshyanti no, indicating that the transcendental opulences will never be destroyed. The reason for freedom from destruction is also described. The devotees accept the Supreme Lord as the most dear personality and reciprocate with him in different relationships. They accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a dearmost friend, as a relative, son, preceptor, well-wisher, or deity. The Lord is eternal. Therefore, any relationship in which we accept him is also eternal. It is clearly confirmed herein that the relationships cannot be destroyed, and therefore the opulences of those relationships are never destroyed. Every living entity has the propensity to love someone. We can see that if someone has no object of love, he generally directs his love to a pet animal like a cat or a dog. Thus, the eternal propensity for love in all the living entities is always searching for a place to reside. From this verse, we can learn that we can love the Supreme Personality of Godhead as our dearmost object, as a friend, as a son, as a preceptor, or as a well-wisher. And there will be no cheating and no end to such love. We shall eternally enjoy the relationship with the Supreme Lord in different aspects. A special feature of this verse is the acceptance of the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Preceptor. Bhagavad Gita is spoken directly by the Supreme Lord, and Arjuna accepted Krishna as his Guru or spiritual master. Similarly, we should accept only Krishna as the Supreme Spiritual Master. When we speak of Krishna, we include his confidential devotees. Krishna is not alone. Krishna includes his name, his form, his qualities, his abode, his associates, etc. For example, a king is always associated with his secretary, his commander, his servant, and so much paraphernalia. As soon as we accept Krishna and his associates as our preceptors, no ill effects can destroy our knowledge. In the material world, the knowledge we acquire may change because of the influence of the time. But nevertheless, the conclusions received from Bhagavad Gita, directly from the speeches of the Supreme Lord Krishna, can never change. There is no use interpreting Bhagavad Gita. It is eternal. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, should be accepted as one's best friend. He will never cheat. He will always give his friendly advice and protection to the devotee. If Krishna is accepted as a son, he will never die. Here we may have a very loving son or child, but the father and mother or those who are affectionate toward him always hope, may my son not die. But Krishna actually never will die. Therefore, those who accept Krishna or the Supreme Lord as their son will never be bereft of their son. In many instances, devotees have accepted the deity as a son. In Bengal, there are many such instances, and even after the death of the devotee, the deity performs the Shraddha ceremony for the father. The relationship is never destroyed. People are accustomed to worship different forms of demigods, but in Bhagavad Gita, such a mentality is condemned. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to worship only the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different forms such as Lakshmi Narayan, Sitaram, and Radha Krishna. Thus, one will never be cheated. By worshipping the demigods, one may elevate himself to the higher planets, but during the dissolution of the material world, the deity and his abode will be destroyed. But one who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead is promoted to the Vaikuntha planet, where there is no time, no destruction or annihilation. The conclusion is that time cannot act upon devotees who have accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as everything. Spiritual life is eternal. It cannot be destroyed. Whatever we have here in the material world is subject to destruction. In this material world, we may aspire for a nice house, good property, children, friends, and riches. But ultimately, all of these will be destroyed, including ourselves. Nothing here is permanent. Therefore, everything is called illusory. Actually, we do not understand this. We take all this as permanent. The fact is, however, that only Krishna is permanent. Krishna's material energy is not permanent. Mayavadis think that in the spiritual world there are no relationships. However, in the Shastras, it is stated that in the spiritual world there is real life. Life in this material world is simply a shadow of that life. In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, this material world is likened to a banyan tree with its roots above and branches below. This means that it is like a shadow. When we stand behind a reservoir of water, we see the tree reflected upside down. We also have the experience of a mirage in the material world. We think that there is water, but actually there is none. Sometimes sailors at sea think that they see land, but actually this is a mirage in the water. This material world is like that. In our lives, we think we are enjoying some rasa, some relationship. Our children are calling us father, and we are enjoying our relationship with our wife. But all of these relationships are like shadows, although people have no information of this. The true enjoyment derived from these relationships can be attained in the spiritual world with Krishna. Krishna therefore comes in person to teach us that we can enjoy the same relationship with him. We can enjoy him as our master, our friend, our son, our father, or our lover. The Mayavadi philosophers say that if Krishna has become everything, there is no question of Krishna as an entity or person. There is a materialistic idea. If we tear up a piece of paper into small pieces and throw it away, the paper no longer has an existence. However, Krishna is not like that. Advaitam achyutamanadimanantarupam madhyam purana purusham navayauvanam cha. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning. Although expanded into unlimited forms, still the same original, the oldest, and the person always appearing as a fresh youth. Brahma Samhita 5.33. Krishna has many millions of expansions, and he is also situated in everyone's heart. He is not only within human beings, but within animals, trees, plants, aquatics, and so forth. It is materialistic to think that Krishna has no individual existence. If he has entered into so many millions of hearts, even though Krishna has distributed himself in many millions of parts, he is still present in the same strength. Krishna is Sarva Aishwarya Purna. He is never diminished. There is an interesting story of a poor boy who was a student in school. During an annual Father's Day ceremony, the teacher requested the students to give some kind of a contribution. Formerly, teachers would not earn a salary, but would receive whatever the students would bring them from their parents' homes or by begging. Generally, the Brahmanas were teachers, and they could not charge anything. Thus, some students brought the teacher rice and some students brought other crops. This one student was so poor that he could think of nothing to bring. Therefore, he told his teacher that he would speak to his mother first. After school, the student told his mother, "My dear mother, all my classmates have promised to contribute something to the teacher. What shall I contribute?" The mother replied, "My dear son, we are so poor that we cannot give anything. However, Krishna is the friend of the poor. If he gives you something, you can promise it to your teacher." "Oh, where is Krishna?" the little boy asked. "Well, I understand that he is in the forest," the mother said. Therefore, the little boy went to the forest and called for Krishna. He then began to cry, and finally Krishna came. When a devotee is very eager to see Krishna, Krishna is so kind that he comes. "So what are you asking?" Krishna said to the little boy. "You are the friend of the poor," the little boy said. I am very poor, and what can I promise my teacher? Krishna then told him, you can tell him that you will supply him some yogurt, some dahi. The little boy was very satisfied with this, and the next day he went to his teacher and said, I will supply you as much yogurt as you need. The teacher felt that this was very nice, and he was pleased with the boy. On the day of the ceremony, the boy again went to the forest and called for Krishna. Krishna appeared and gave him a quart of yogurt. The little boy took this yogurt to his teacher and said, this is my contribution, sir. The teacher looked at the quart and said, what is this? Hundreds of people will be coming, and you have only given this much yogurt? The teacher became so angry that he spilled the yogurt out of the container. When he bent down to pick it up, he saw that the container was again full. He dropped it again, and it was again full. He could then understand that it was spiritual. This is the nature of Krishna. One can take everything, and yet the same will remain. In the material world, 1 minus 1 equals 0. But in the spiritual world, 1 minus 1 equals 1. This is called Advaya Jnana. There is no duality in the spiritual world. 1 plus 1 equals 1, and 1 minus 1 equals 1. If we love Krishna, that love will not be destroyed as love in this material world. In the material world, a servant serves the master as long as the servant is pleased, and as long as the master is pleased. The servant is pleased as long as the master pays, and the master is pleased as long as the servant renders good service. However, in the spiritual world, if the servant cannot serve under certain conditions, the master is still pleased, and if the master does not pay, the servant is also pleased. That is called oneness, or absolute. A guru may have hundreds of disciples, hundreds of servants, but he doesn't have to pay them. They are serving out of spiritual love, and the guru is teaching without receiving a salary. This is the spiritual relationship. There are no cheaters and cheated in such a relationship. If we accept Krishna as our son, friend, or lover, we will never be cheated. However, we may have to give up the false, illusory servant, son, father, or lover, for they will surely cheat us. We may love our son with our heart and soul, but that very son may someday be our enemy. We may love our wife very much, but someday that wife may be such an enemy that she will kill us for her own interests. There are many instances of this in the history. Mayavadi philosophers are afraid of having such relationships because they have bitter experience with these relationships in the material world. They therefore want to negate all relationships, and therefore they say no more son, daughter, lover, master, or whatever. Being disgusted with these things, they try to make everything void. Yet, if we have the same relationship with Krishna, we will never be cheated or disappointed. Our enthusiasm will increase more and more. Therefore, Krishna encourages us to accept him as our son, as our friend, and as our master. Then we will be happy. Hare Krishna. This is the eternal happiness that we are looking for. Yes, the spiritual world. I was recently listening to a katha where Maharaj was talking about how in the spiritual world everything is like Prabhupada is explaining here. 1 minus 1 also equals 1, right? So because there are kalpavriksha, desire fulfilling trees there. So anything that you want, you just go and pray to the kalpavriksha, and you will get it as a fruit. The fruit will fall down, and from the fruit you will get. So like if you are playing with your friends there, if you're looking for something, you can ask and it'll just come, and from the fruit it will come. Like that, just even jewelry to adorn the Lord, and to like Srimati Radhani, the dress that they wear, that the gopis and the manjaris, offer them. All of those come from the kalpavriksha, and every fruit will have one new design, which would feel like some goldsmith or jeweler has actually spent like hundreds of years to actually make that. It will be so pristine, so beautiful, and every time it will be like a new one and a new one and a new one. It'll never finish, right? So like that. So in the spiritual world, everything is perfect, everything is complete, and everything never diminishes. So Krishna is like that. No matter how many, like we were saying, just practically we can see how many trillions and gazillions and bazillions of living creatures are there, and on this planet itself. What to imagine of so many billions and trillions and gazillions of planets and universes that exist in this material world, which is only 1/4 of the whole creation, and spiritual world is 3/4. So imagine, it's just mind-boggling. Like Prabhupada saying yesterday, our mathematicians cannot even imagine, how much is just 1 hour of Brahma. So, it's just out of our mind. So, once Maharaj Bhakti Ashram Maharaj was saying that humility is to understand that we cannot understand. So that is humility, that we say that yes, I understand that I cannot understand God. That is the glory of the Lord, that even though, but yet a devotee can actually understand God, because by the mercy of the Lord is so merciful to his devotees that he fully gives himself to his devotees. And so it's only by pure bhakti, by love of devotional service, that we can understand God. But we should always have that humility that, yes, no, I cannot understand God. That is the true humility of a devotee. But yeah, and the more we hear, like here Prabhupada saying, the servants of the Lord are more satisfied. In this world, we are all working, or we have jobs, or we are business people, and we know that we are all working because of money, and the money that we need is so that we can have some sort of relaxation, some sort of material comforts, right? But in the spiritual world, as Prabhupada is explaining, they're all working out of pure spiritual love. And again, since this week is the Tirubhav Tithi of Guru Maharaj, and hearing some of the glorifications from his dearmost servants, secretaries, I was hearing yesterday as well, and he was sharing how, of course, they are all also sons of fathers and mother in this world. But just imagine, giving up your family as a brahmachari, living with a sannyasi, and serving them so closely. So like my Guru Maharaj was served by this wonderful disciple, His Grace Dashavatar Prabhu, who served him for more than 12-13 years as a personal servant, personal secretary. So how much time, he was saying that, we read in Shastras that Lava Mata Sadhu Sangha Sarvasiddhi Hai, that just by a moment's association with a pure devotee, we can be purified. And how much fortunate I am. What I don't know what I have done in my previous lives that I got to serve Guru Maharaj for so many years, and it was not easy. It was not at all easy, but just having that opportunity to be so close to him, to serve him, that shows that there is genuine spiritual love, because of which only you can continue. And Guru Maharaj's mercy, of course, that he took such nice care that he was feeling the love, maybe that the love of a father that he may not have felt in the material world, but he was feeling so much serving Guru Maharaj. So that is a pure love. And in this world, of course, we are, like Prabhupada is explaining, this is the mode. We are always under the mode of either passion or ignorance. For those who are not practicing devotional service, right? There are so many billions of living entities who are not here, right? There are only a dozen of us on this call, and there are only a few hundreds who come to the center every week, out of millions in Cincinnati, right? So why is that? That is because, this is very, very, this is like a diamond, and only those who have that piety, that sukriti from previous lives, they have the spiritual cash to purchase this diamond of devotional service. It's not something cheap that everybody can get, right? So we should all be very grateful, very fortunate, and we should feel that this is something that we have received after a lot of maybe tapasya and austerities from our previous lives. So we should not let this go, and that is why Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Varga, they feel very sad, and that when somebody comes in devotional service and then they leave, that is the most sad thing, because to come in is easy, to leave is easier, but to stay is most difficult, right? And then this world, of course, Maharaj also would say, like yesterday we were reading Brahma Bhuvana Loka, Punaravartina Arjuna. Everybody, whether from Brahma Lok to the little ant, everybody has to be born again and again in this cycle of birth and death. But a devotee who transcends this goes to Vaikuntha, where there is no kunta. Kunta means distress and misery, and no, Vai means there is no kunta. So, he also nicely compared this, so if you see, these are 14 planetary systems. So out of the 14 planetary systems, there are 7 above and then 7 below, and Earth is in the middle, right, Bhuloka. And if you imagine this as a jail, Maharaj was saying this is like the central jail, because we are right in the center of the material universe, right? So we are in the central jail, and still we are thinking we are enjoying. How ironical that is, right? That we think, just by getting some money, some property, some car, some bank balance, we are thinking, I'm enjoying. But we are right in the central jail, and we are thinking we are enjoying. That is Maya, completely under illusion. So, yeah, but when we serve the Lord, then we get out of this Maya and we come out of the central jail. And we go to the central part of the spiritual world, which is Vaikunth, which is Golok Vrindavan. Okay, thank you so much. Anybody would like to share any other reflections, any other remembrances of the Lord? I was going to my work yesterday, and it's very nice. Like in a few days, just 2-3 days ago, I was reading a quote from Vaishnava Bhakti Ashram Maharaj. He said this very nicely, that if you have a desire to serve, if we have desire to serve the Lord and His pure devotees, then Krishna will give us the ability and the strength, right? So again, these remembrances that we are doing, just when we have the desire to remember the Lord, it's like I just parked my car and I'm walking to my office, and on the way, the breeze is flowing, and from the breeze there are nice flowers and on the trees. So, and maybe they put maybe new mulch. So I don't know where the fragrance was coming from, but I could just, as soon as I got out of my car and was walking there, and I could feel the fragrance, I could smell the fragrance. So since we just started talking about Punyogandha Prithiviyam, that I am the original fragrance of earth, Krishna is saying. So we have to remember Krishna. He comes to help us remember him, right? So we just need to have sincere desire to serve, and then it happens. So anyway, I just wanted to share that this just happened yesterday. So that is how I remembered Krishna as soon as I took my first step towards my workplace. Okay, anybody else would like to share anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna,
Hare
everyone.
Krishna.
Since we are talking about spiritual world, I've heard something I thought I would share. There is, here as devotees, we serve God. We serve the Lord. We cook for Lord. We dress the deities, make garland for the deities, and it is the same thing we'll be doing there if we go to Golok Vrindavan. Then what is the difference here and there? What is something we'll get more there and not here? Even though we are practicing here, we are doing everything for Lord if we are able to. The difference is that here we get tired of doing things. We are in this body, but when we do these same things there, we'll get even more pleasure and we will not be tired. We'll never be tired. This is something I struggle with. I get tired all the time. Even though I want to do some things, but it is, because of the bodily limitations, I'm not able to do it. So I felt it was, very, very inspiring and motivating that I will not be tired when I go there, if I go. So that was one thing. And the second thing regarding remembering the Lord was, yesterday I went to Whole Food Market to return few things from Amazon, and outside there were fresh flowers. It's spring season. They displayed, and it was such nice fragrance coming from when I was just passing from that place, and I stopped and I looked at what flower is smelling so good, because here we see so many flowers but rarely will we smell. So I was able to smell and then remember Lord that time. Just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes. So yes, Krishna is reciprocating with all of us, because we wanted to remember him as the fragrance. So yes. Okay. Anybody else would like to say anything? Okay. All right. Thank you all. Then hopefully we'll hear more reflections as we go along. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Teachings of Lord Kapila Deva ki jai. ISKCON Cincinnati ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.